Eva, can you tell us how you feel about the season so far then, and how you think it's gone?
Yeah, well, I think the team is in a good shape, no? Always you think that with 11 new players, you need time because it's a big change. Like half team is new, and you always think that you need time to that players connect and adapt to each other. But I think they adapt so quick. Still, of course, we are working things. We have things to improve and learn, but I think it was a good start. We were frustrated, don't get points against Glasgow City, and that hurt us a lot because we are demanding with ourselves and we are ambitious. But it was a big learning that I think will help us for following matches.
And what would it mean to get a win this weekend here at Easter Road?
Yeah, it will be a big step in the league to get a win this Friday. No, Rangers and Celtic, they don't play, and that will be a big step in the table. But our 3 points, and we are really always fighting for that 3 points every week. But of course, it will be a big step too because we never won here in Easter Road. We got 1 point, but never 3 points, and that will mean that mentally we are stronger than other seasons.
Do you feel, where do you feel Hearts should be this season in terms of the ambitions?
Well, as I say, I'm realistic. We finished the transition period that were 3 years. For that we did changes, a lot of changes. Now we have a squad that we want to work long term with this squad. I don't know if the objective we will get this season, but if it's not this season, will be next. But what we want now is with this team we have now is develop this team and get important things in the future with this team. I cannot say it's going to be month, 1 year, 2 years, but we have clear our view that we want to get important things with this team.
How different is the derby to other games?
Well, of course, there is a derby. No, is something. This is my 4th season now. I live a lot of derbies, but always have been important. We know our first season we were amateur team and Hibs was a strong team in the league. And every time this derby have been more competitive. I think that now, this Friday, both teams we arrive in a good shape. I think both teams we have better squads than last season. That is going to be a so interesting match. But everything can happen. But it's always special for the history. But I try to mentally be like always, because if I show that to the team will be calm and they can be themselves, no?
Do you think it's going to be more competitive at the top of the table this season? You mentioned Hibs are improved.
Yeah, I think Hibs improve, and maybe other teams of top 3 are not better than last season, and that make the top 5 is going to be an interesting top 5, I will say, where I think this season us and Hibs we will beat top 3 more than 1 time. I have that feeling. Not all the games, if I'm realistic, but will happen that both teams beat them in some point this season, and that is something that make the league more attractive.
What do you think? What have you learned over these first games, especially the Glasgow City game? What's kind of your key takeaways?
Yeah, like at the end, the mental side is the most important thing because that was happened last minutes in that game. Mentally, we were maybe 1 player more, but we were stressed with the situation, and we need to learn to be more calm in that last minutes of the game, and doesn't matter who is the opponent, no? Like, we have to be ourselves always. If we are one player more, one player less, and that we need to work that. But I'm sure that I took responsibility of that game. I say to the players, I'm the manager, and I need to find solutions for that last minutes, being an extra player, and for that I took responsibilities, no? But it's work together as a team, staff, players, to manage that situations better in the future. But as I say, had to happen to following matches don't happen again.
Do you feel the city as a whole, especially when you look at derbies like this and how they're promoted, has really been supportive of women's football in a way that maybe you don't see elsewhere?
Yeah, you say about the derby, like it is supported.
Yeah, in terms of the city as a whole, the way that the supporters come out to games like this, the way that you see the promotion of the derby beforehand, you see on the back of buses and things like that, you don't necessarily maybe see that everywhere else.
Yeah, and that is so nice, because I remember the first time I looked the bus and we were there, the captains were there. It's something that you feel proud, no? How women's football is improving, and we feel important that it's not just men's football, no? And in the city, and when people come to speak with us in the street, the people know who we are. That is a big progression, and hope that can be improving, no? And for that, it's important that Friday is a competitive game. We show that both teams, we want to play football, a nice football, and people can enjoy watching this game.
You mentioned 11 new players in the summer. I mean, how have you felt that transition's gone so far? How have they adapted to the squad?
Yeah, that could be more difficult than it's been. As I say, it's 11 players. The reason I explained before is because the previous 3 years were transitional to be a professional team, and not everybody is ready for the steps we were doing. But as I say, it's true that 11 players, we have a lot of young players, but with massive potential. We want to develop them, how we want to play, the football we want to play, and we think it's the way to get what we want to get. Of course, we dream in the future can go to Europe, no? But as I say, it's not a short future, but it's a long-term future. We want to be there.
And Eilidh, it'll be your first Edinburgh derby. I mean, what are you expecting from that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a really competitive game. It's two teams that have started the season strong, and as mentioned, I think both teams have improved on last season in terms of their squads. So yeah, I mean, it'll be a hugely competitive game, and it'll be two teams that are going in for the 3 points. So I should hopefully make for an exciting match.
And how have you found adapting to being at Hearts? You were obviously at Aberdeen for a long time, so it's something really new just to move club at all.
Yeah, it's been different for me, but it's been the step up that I've been needing and looking for. And I think settling in, it's been made a lot easier with the players. You know, they've made it easy welcoming in all the new girls, and the staff. You know, we're starting to build those relationships now, and I think you can start to see that happening. So yeah, I think for me it's been made a lot easier with the players and staff around me.
Is the chance to play in a derby like this just another reason to want to move to Hearts, to get to be a part of a game like this?
Yeah, of course, you see them in the last few seasons, just how competitive they are, and the number of fans that are being brought in for these games, and just the publicity that they're getting. I think it's really positive for the women's game, especially up here in Scotland. So yeah, it's something that's really exciting to be a part of.
What's been the thing that's stood out the most since joining Hearts?
I think just the want to be the best that you can. You know, it's an ambitious club, want to strive to be the best that we can. I think that message has been made clear from the start, and everyone has the same goal. We're all heading in the same direction. I think that's really important, because if you're not all aiming towards the same thing, that can be difficult. And yeah, so just the ambition to aim as high as we can and do as well as we can this season.
Who's impressed you the most since coming in?
I think there's been a few, but I think for myself, playing in the middle of the park, I'm learning a lot of Lisa Robertson in the middle. You know, she's a hugely experienced player across different leagues as well. So I think for me, having someone like that in beside me has been really beneficial to myself, and hopefully continue getting a relationship with her and improving in that aspect.
How important was the trip to Tenerife, the pre-season one, just for the squad and to help that kind of adapting period and getting to know everyone?
Yeah, it's good. I think obviously 11 new players, it's going to take time for players to like learn each other on and off the pitch and build those relationships. So I think having time away, it's good on the pitch to be training together, but the off the pitch time is important as well. So I think having that time away, and obviously it was intense training in the sun as well, adds a bit more intensity for your pre-season, which is just what you need. So yeah, I think that was really beneficial for us.
Anyway, Eva's speaking about Europe. Do you dream of that?
I mean, yeah, I think in the future that's obviously something we should definitely be aiming for. Whether that be in the next year or two or beyond that, we don't know, but we just want to keep pushing on each season and trying to improve and get better and better.
Are you envious of clubs like Rangers and Glasgow City have been there over the last few years, and you see what that can bring to a football club and help it evolve?
Yeah, of course. You see how well those clubs have been doing, and even in Europe they've been competing well in previous seasons. So if that's something that we can aim to do in the next couple of years, that's definitely something that we'd want, and that's something we can push for, definitely.
The first things first, it's a big city derby. I don't think you've been involved in anything like that obviously before. Just how does that intensify what's happening in the dressing room between now and kick-off time?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day it's just another game, and so the aim is the same, is to go out and get those 3 points, but with the derby it adds maybe a little bit extra pressure, but maybe a bit of motivation as well. So yeah, everyone's going to be up for it. It's going to be a huge game, and just hopefully a really competitive game, and hopefully one that we can get 3 points.